Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That is Nettie Liddell.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking with musician John Hernandez, and we're going to be talking in the next part of the segment to theater columnist Stephen Stanley. But John, getting back real quick to what you were talking about, you actually had a question for John, right?
Yeah, I did. We were just listening to his beautiful song. What was that song? What was the title of that song that you were playing?
Don't Take You From Me.
Don't Take You From Me. Mm-hmm. And where can you find that?
Well, like I said, we're in the studio right now, and that is actually the next song that we're going to start working on next Saturday. So we've got a session set up, and hopefully we'll be able to hear that pretty soon.
Can you find it on YouTube?
You can. There's a live performance of it that we actually recorded.
Okay,
so
cool.
That's where you can see that.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, if not, put that up there because it's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
And you and your writing partner, who is that?
Evan Gamble.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have been working together for how long?
About a year and a half now. Like we've really just started. We started writing about a year and a half together. And so we've probably got maybe a catalog of like 20 songs that we've written together, and we want to go out and start recording all of those before we, I guess ultimately we'd like to go on tour and do that whole thing, which would be great.
Right. So this is very much so a long-term commitment for you guys.
We'd love to do it for the long haul. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. You think you can duke it out together?
Well, as long as he stops getting food poisoning.
He was supposed to be here this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
On tour. That's a tough life. Why here? Why now in this economy?
Well, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, which is obviously very centered on music, and I got the bug.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get the bug, you can't really, it stays.
Why aren't you back in Memphis? Memphis is great for music.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's more of a bluesy sort of like blues rock sort of thing, and I mean, not really comparable to what we do. That doesn't mean I love it. I mean, one of my favorite artists growing up was Stevie Ray Vaughan, who's amazing.
Right.
B.B. King, all those sorts of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You seem like an LA boy to me, though.
I don't have the accent.
I can't wait to hear more from you.
Well, thank you.
For any information on John Hernandez, you can go to youtube.com/thealiasband. That's ALIUS. And thanks so much for coming in, John.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Come back with Evan one of these days. And you guys can
would love to do that, yeah.
Awesome. Transitioning, Nettie. Transitioning from musicians to theater columnist.
Theater columnist, editor, critic, Stephen Stanley, sitting right here next to me. Thank you for being here so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, Stephen, you've been at the game for a little while here. You every year you give out the Scenes, which are the LA Stage Scene Awards.
Stage Scene LA.
Stage Scene LA Awards. Excuse me.
At www.stagescenela.com. Okay, that's easy enough. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
So we can find you.
And you gave, I believe it was Production of the Year to one of our favorite shows, Caught, at the Zephyr Theater.
I saw Caught 8 times.
We saw it like 4. We loved it too.
It was something that really took over, I think, became a runaway hit, and as much as anything, just because of word of mouth, people talked about it, brought their friends back, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So it's interesting that you also saw it.
Oh, are you kidding me?
A number of times.
Yeah, we had a couple cast members on too. It was great.
It was like our baby.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of our entire show, actually.
Mackenzie Aston was our first guest.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Great.
there was just something about it that, was amazing.
So what is what brought you into the world of being a theater columnist? Obviously, you're interested in theater, but how did it all begin for you?
I think I came to it a lot differently from probably just about anybody else who writes about theater. I grew up loving theater and seeing theater and kind of wanting to do theater, and didn't really get a chance to do it until I was in my 40s, and did a number of different productions. But I found that I enjoyed seeing shows as much as I did being in them. And my life kind of changed in, I guess it was 2004, when a very good friend of mine told me about Gold Star Events, which was the first time that I knew that there was a way that you could see theater for a lot cheaper than what the ticket prices were. And however you feel about half-price sites, they certainly got me into going to the theater. So for about a year, I saw as many shows as I could. And people kept asking me, are you an Ovation voter because you see so much theater? And I said, no. And they said, well, you really should be one, send in your application. I said, I could? He said, you're a theater professional. Yes, try it. So I did and was selected. And the first year I saw 176 shows. In the second year I saw 200 shows. In the third year they sent me that kind of little thin envelope that you get when it's a rejection. And for about 36 hours I panicked because what was I going to do? How I was going to be able to feed my addiction to live theater. And then it came to me, I'll start my website. So I started a website having no idea where it would take me, using the contacts that I knew to get invited to theater, and little by little have kind of developed my own sort of niche in Los Angeles theater.
You've become pretty well respected in Los Angeles theater. You're certainly an advocate for theater in LA, which is hugely important.
I think that that's another thing that kind of distinguishes me from a lot of people who write about theater. I see myself as somebody who wants to spread the word about what's really the best in Los Angeles and Southern California theater. Mm-hmm. So I try as much as possible to see things that I think I'm going to like, hopefully things that I'm going to love. I don't see any need to see mediocre theater just to prove that I can find fault with a production.
Right.
And when I like something, I want people to see it. So although I'm not a publicist, I think publicists probably appreciate the fact that I do promote the shows that I like, the shows that I love, whether it was Caught or any other productions that I enjoyed the most this last year.
Absolutely. Were there? We have every year we have the Ovation Awards in LA, which is sort of the West Coast version of the Tony Awards. For those that don't know, were there any disappointments this year that you felt?
Well,
I know it's tough to say, but is there
anybody who saw Caught couldn't help but be shocked that it didn't get a single nomination. Mm-hmm. And Thomas James O'Leary's performance in Take Me Out was the best supporting performance I saw all year, and also got overlooked. But when you have 250, 270 people voting independently,
it's hard to tell.
It's very hard to tell.
We'll be back to talk to you a little more on La La Land with Brett and Nett on CRN Digital Talk.